Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans, do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey Cowboys Nation, welcome back to the channel, where today we're diving deep into what might be one of the most pivotal moments of the Dallas Cowboys 2023 season. We're talking about the recent developments surrounding the defense, the coaching situation, and what all of this means for the Cowboys moving forward. If you've been following the team closely, you already know that there's been a lot of chatter, a lot of frustration, and frankly, some serious questions about the future of this team's leadership. So, buckle up because today we're going to unpack everything, every detail, every statistic, and every possible outcome. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll have a much clearer picture of what's at stake and what could happen next. Let's start with the big, shocking revelation. Just in the last few days, the Cowboys' coaching staff, especially on the defensive side, has come under intense scrutiny. After the latest game, where the defense allowed a career-high performance by J. McCarthy, who posted some of his best passing yards and yards per attempt in his young career, the pressure on head coach Mike McCarthy and defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus has skyrocketed. Fans are furious. Media experts are talking about potential coaching changes. And honestly, it's hard to ignore the glaring issues that have plagued this defense for most of the season. What really set things off was the undeniable fact that the Cowboys' defense is currently among the worst in the league. According to data from Sumer Sports, Dallas ranks 31st in EPA, expected points added per play, with a staggering 0. 14 EPA per play, and 30th in total EPA at 122.83. To put that into perspective, only the Cincinnati Bengals, who are having one of the worst seasons in franchise history, are worse. The Cowboys are also sitting at 65% success rate on defense, which is nearly at the bottom of the league, and they rank 29th in both dropback EPA and rush EPA. These are not just numbers, these are alarming indicators of a defense that's struggling across the board in all phases of the game. But why has this happened? Well, the root of the problem seems to be a combination of personnel issues and, more critically, coaching decisions. The Cowboys' defense, which has historically been a strength in recent seasons, has become a liability. Players like Micah Parsons are still making game-changing plays, but even he has been somewhat neutralized by the lack of a cohesive team effort. The secondary has been inconsistent, and the lack of pressure on opposing quarterbacks has been glaring. The defensive line, which should be a strength, hasn't been able to generate the consistent push needed to disrupt offenses. And the schemes? Well, that's where things start to get really interesting. Eberflus, who was brought in to bring a more aggressive, innovative defensive approach, has instead opted for a more conservative, soft coverage style, especially on third downs and short yardage situations. This stubbornness to adapt, despite mounting evidence that the current approach isn't working, has left fans and analysts scratching their heads. It's perplexing how a defensive coordinator with such a solid reputation, coming from Chicago where he was known for his aggressive schemes, would abandon blitzes after early success and play so tentatively. The result: opponents are exploiting these soft coverages, and the defense's failure to get stops has become painfully obvious. Now, what about the leadership? Well, that's where Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones come into focus. After Sunday night's game, which saw the Cowboys surrender 34 points to J. McCarthy and the Detroit Lions, the media was quick to ask about the future of the coaching staff. Jerry Jones, ever the businessman, was somewhat evasive. He hinted at a possible reevaluation after the season, but the tone was telling. When pressed directly about firing Eberflus, he beat around the bush, giving the classic "we'll see what happens" line. But behind the scenes, the cracks are showing. Fans are fed up. The team's defensive rankings are embarrassing, and the playoff chances, as a result, have plummeted. Stephen Jones, in a rare moment of candor during his Monday interview on 105.3 The Fan, didn't hold back. He admitted that the defense currently ranks at the bottom of the league, explicitly stating, "You are what you are," and emphasizing that the team is not satisfied with their current standing. His words, "We have to chop wood," reveal a team that's aware of the need for drastic change. And let's be honest, if the defense continues to perform this badly, the Cowboys will struggle to make the playoffs, let alone contend for a Super Bowl. With less than a 1% chance of making the postseason, the pressure is mounting for Jerry and Stephen to make bold moves. So what next? Well, the big question is, will they finally pull the trigger on firing Eberflus? The signs are pointing toward yes, especially as the fan frustration reaches new heights. The coaching carousel is about to spin, and it's entirely possible that the Cowboys will look outside the organization to bring in a new defensive mind. Names like Brian Schottenheimer, who has shown promise as an offensive coordinator but is also rumored to be considering a shift to defense, could be in the running. The key is finding someone who can get through to this roster, which, despite its talent, has been underperforming. Now, let's talk about the players involved, because that's where the story gets even more intriguing. Micah Parsons remains the brightest star on this defense, a game wrecker capable of changing the course of any game, but even he can't do it alone. The secondary, including players like Trevon Diggs and others, has been inconsistent, and the lack of reliable pass rush has compounded their struggles. The defense's inability to generate turnovers or pressure quarterbacks has allowed opposing offenses to control the tempo, which is the opposite of what this team needs to succeed. Meanwhile, on the offensive side, the Cowboys' attack has been inconsistent too. While the defense's struggles dominate headlines, the offense is quietly dealing with its own issues. Dak Prescott has shown flashes of brilliance, but has also had costly turnovers. The running game, led by Tony Pollard, has been somewhat effective, but not enough to compensate for the defensive shortcomings. The offensive line has had its moments, but the lack of sustained offensive drives puts pressure on the defense, further exposing their weaknesses. Now you might be wondering, how does all of this tie into the broader landscape of the NFL? Well, the Cowboys are a storied franchise with a rich history of success, but this season has been a stark departure from their usual standards. They are a team built on a strong defense and a reliable quarterback, and right now both elements are under question. The comparison to other teams in similar situations is inevitable. The Bengals, for instance, are experiencing a nightmare season, but they're also showing resilience and fighting spirit. The Giants and Commanders, who sit in the same division, are not exactly world beaters either, but the Cowboys' defensive struggles put them at risk of falling behind in the NFC East. And what about the league at large? Well, the NFC is stacked with talented teams like the 49ers, Eagles, and Lions, all of whom have formidable defenses and dynamic offenses. The Cowboys, despite their talent, are falling behind because of their defensive woes. The question is, can a coaching change or personnel adjustment salvage this season, or is it already too late? The upcoming games against divisional rivals will be pivotal in determining their playoff fate. If they can't turn things around quickly, they might be watching the postseason from home, an unthinkable scenario for Cowboys fans who are used to seeing their team in the hunt. Now, let's shift gears and look at what the future might hold. The coaching staff is at a crossroads. If Jerry and Stephen Jones decide to make a change, it could open the door for a new defensive coordinator who employs a more aggressive, adaptable scheme, something that fits the talent on this roster better. Perhaps a coach with a proven track record of turning around struggling defenses. The impact of such a move could be immediate, energizing the team and restoring some confidence. But there's also a risk. Changing coordinators mid-season can cause instability, and if not done correctly, it might make things worse. On the other hand, some fans and analysts believe that keeping Eberflus for the remainder of the season and giving him a chance to implement his vision could work, if he's willing to adapt. But based on what we've seen so far, the stubbornness to abandon certain schemes and the refusal to take risks on third and short situations suggest that this might be an uphill battle. The team needs a mindset shift, something that only a new voice can bring in. Looking ahead, the Cowboys' remaining schedule will be critical. They face tough divisional opponents, and their ability to win key games will determine whether they salvage their season or face an early offseason. The next few weeks will be a roller coaster, with intense debates among fans and media about whether to blow it up or stick with the current plan. The decision they make could define the franchise's direction for years to come. So what can we expect from the Cowboys in the immediate future? Well, the coaching staff, led by Jerry and Stephen Jones, will likely have some tough discussions. The defense, which has been a perennial strength in recent years, is now a glaring weakness. Changing the coordinator might be the immediate step, but they also need to look at personnel, adding playmakers on defense and possibly reevaluating certain players' roles. The offense, despite its struggles, remains relatively solid, but it needs consistency and fewer mistakes from Dak Prescott. In the end, this entire saga is a classic example of a team in crisis. A team that has the talent but is missing the cohesion and strategic execution. It's a story of high stakes, intense pressure, and the possibility of major change. This is what makes following the Cowboys so compelling. They are a franchise with a history of resilience, and now they're at a crossroads that could reshape their future. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this entire situation? Do you believe Jerry and Stephen Jones will finally pull the trigger and fire Eberflus? or do you think they will stick with him, hoping for a turnaround? How do you see the remaining games playing out? Do you think this defense can be salvaged, or is it time to rebuild? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinions matter so much to us and the entire Cowboys community. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, analysis, and maybe some surprises along the way. Stay tuned, Cowboys Nation, because this season isn't over yet and the best is yet to come. Pause here, just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Dallas Cowboys news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and IT makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let's continue with the big reveal. As we look forward, there's an undeniable sense that everything is on the line. This isn't just about one bad game or a rough patch. This is about the identity of the team, about what kind of football the Cowboys want to play moving forward. Do they want to be known for their dominant defense and resilient offense? Or has this season revealed cracks too deep to fix without significant overhaul? The coaching staff's future, especially Eberflus, hangs in the balance, and with each week that passes, the pressure mounts. Fans are restless, and the media is relentless. The next few games will be crucial in determining whether the Cowboys can reverse this trend or if they're headed towards a rebuild. In the end, the story of the 2023 Dallas Cowboys is still being written. The decisions made in the coming weeks could define their legacy, whether they rise from these setbacks or fall into mediocrity. But one thing's for sure, the passion, the drama, and the relentless pursuit of greatness are what make this team and this sport so captivating. Stay with us, stay engaged, and let's see what the future holds for America's team. Thanks for being part of this journey, and as always, we'll be here to bring you the latest updates, expert analysis, and everything in between. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and the Cowboys community. Remember, I'll be back soon with more content, so make sure to stay tuned. Until then, keep the faith, and let's see what the future holds for the Dallas Cowboys.